The Albanese government made an announcement today that I don't quite get. It said this is the biggest defence shake-up in 50 years, which sounds, well, you know, big. But before I explain what it is or it isn't, let me paint the context. Now, if you're serious, you would look at the rest of the world and I think you should freak. I mean, the picture is of a weak West and a China-led coalition of villains and thugs and dictators saying, we've got them this time. In Ukraine, you've got Russia. It keeps attacking civilians, and America and Europe keep refusing to give Ukraine all the weapons it needs to save itself. In Gaza, you've got Hamas terrorists refusing to disarm, like US President Donald Trump demanded a couple of months ago, and the US doesn't have the will to go and make them. Then there's China, of course. This is the big one, Russia's biggest ally, now telling our Prime Minister and Donald Trump separately and to their face, Taiwan is ours. And when Japan's new Prime Minister said, well, actually, Japan could defend Taiwan if it was invaded, Chinese diplomats threatened to cut her dirty neck and to break Japanese heads before cancelling and visiting Japanese pop star mid-song to ram home a message. And today, Defence Minister Richard Marles confirmed reports that a Chinese naval task force, another one, could be on its way, like the one in February that circled Australia, firing weapons under even aeroplane traffic lanes, just to send us a message.
I want to confirm today that Defence is monitoring a Chinese PLAN task group, which is currently in the Philippine Sea. We do not have a sense of where it is going, but we continue to monitor it as we monitor all movements until we know that task groups are not coming to Australia.
But worse was when Marles was asked, would it be like last time where we don't have enough ships to actually monitor tail the task force? Would we have to again ask New Zealand's Navy to help us out? He couldn't even say, no, of course Australia has enough naval ships for something that's simple and so close to home.
Look, I'm not about to get into hypotheticals.
So you would expect that when Marles today said he was announcing the biggest defence shake-up in 50 years, it wouldn't sound like this, the creation of what he called a Defence Delivery Group.
The Defence Delivery Agency will begin its life as the Defence Delivery Group on the 1st of July next year, when we will see the merging of three existing groups, the Capability Acquisition and Sustainment Group, the Guided Weapons and Explosive Ordnance Enterprise, and the Naval Shipbuilding and Sustainment Group into what will be the Defence Delivery Group. In that, the same people who are currently undertaking their work in these three groups will be undertaking their work in the new Defence Delivery Group. And then on the 1st of July 2027, the Defence Delivery Group will become the Defence Delivery Agency and be an independent agency.
After hearing that, I bet you're saying, and that is the biggest defence shake-up in 50 years? That? A group that's going to focus more on delivery of projects, which is good, and alarm tell the government if anything's going wrong in faster time. Opposition Defence spokesman Angus Taylor wasn't impressed.
The objective here has to be to get more capability and equipment into the hands of our warfighters. And the risk here is this is just shuffling the deck chairs. There's no new funding here. There's no sign of any material savings, and it's very unclear how this is actually going to deliver what we need.
Joining me is the country's top defence writer, Greg Sheridan of The Australian. Greg, good to see you. The biggest defence shake-up in 50 years, we're told, which sounds impressive, but is it?
Well, Andrew, it's good to be with you. Look, this was an embarrassing performance by the Albanese government today. I mean, Richard Marles is becoming a figure beyond parody, really. So Pat Conroy says it's the biggest change to the defence organisation in 50 years. Richard Marles in the same press conference says everyone currently working on their jobs in the current agencies will be working on their exactly the same jobs in the new agency. The new agency under one name comes into existence next year, and then under its final name it comes into existence in July of 2027. Now, I've watched these reforms go back and forth in defence over many decades. What they're doing is amalgamating 3 agencies into one agency. But guess what? These agencies used to be one agency and they disamalgamated them in order to make them more effective. I mean, this is just meaningless folderol. Now, the government, but there's, as usual, there's a lot of madness going on behind the scenes. The government announced what it claims is the biggest organisational shake-up in 50 years with a 1.5-page press release. No supporting documents, no other information, no timelines, nothing. Imagine the Hawke government announcing a huge defence change, allegedly, with that. And then halfway through, Miles started talking about something else, you know, about monitoring Chinese ships in the Philippines, as though he couldn't keep his mind on defence equipment for any length of time. And then the new arrangements, in any event, are incredibly vague and confusing. So the new agency is meant to be an independent agency which will report separately to the government from the Defence Department. But guess what? There's only one envelope of defence money. So either the head of the new agency is effectively the Secretary of the Defence Department and the Secretary no longer has any power, or he'll have to still go to the Secretary to get his money. Now, how do we work that out? God alone knows. They weren't telling us anything. They briefed out quite aggressively before the announcement that this was going to see us get rid of 30% of senior officers, probably brigadier and above, because the starred officers, brigadier and above, has doubled since 2003, and the senior executive service in defence has risen by 80% since 2003, and yet we have the same number of warfighters. So we obviously have a massively top-heavy bureaucracy. But then when he got to the actual press conference, Miles said there will be no job losses, no redundancies. I mean, what does it all amount to? It amounts to nothing. It amounts to nothing. And meantime, as Taylor said, not one new dollar of new capability.
Not true, Greg. Not true. There's going to be a lot more business cards printed. A lot of different business cards. I mean, come on, be serious. Just quickly, Greg. Meanwhile, China's extraordinary threats to Japan to cut the Prime Minister's, quote, dirty neck, to smash heads. What does that tell you?
Well, I'm very worried about Donald Trump's actions lately. And of course, we ought to, if the Americans are becoming marginally less reliable, then we ought to be upgrading our defence capabilities as a matter of extreme urgency. But even these reforms we've just been talking about don't come in until late 2027. So the government will have been in office almost as long as World War II went before it reforms procurement practices and hasn't procured anything. But the Chinese are beating up on the Japanese now. We have not uttered a word of support for the Japanese, but neither has Donald Trump. And in fact, it's been revealed that Trump told the Japanese Prime Minister to quieten down and stop provoking China in a phone call with her at the request of the Chinese. That was revealed in Trump's phone conversation with the Japanese Prime Minister. Now, I'm very worried with the pressure that Trump is putting on Zelensky to basically run up the white flag in Ukraine in the interests of Russia, that Trump is drifting into this mood that he sometimes has where he just wants to deal with the big men and bugger allies and so forth. And I tell you what, Japan is 1,000 times more important to the United States than Australia is. And if they're willing to leave Japan drifting in the wind in the face of Chinese threats, I'm a bit concerned about us. And yet, of course, we're doing nothing. No job losses, no capability gains, nothing.
Oh, Greg, it is a mess. I've got to say that some Japanese spokesman said, no, there wasn't such a call from Trump. But I don't think I believe that at all. I thought the original report was pretty well sourced.